Okay, this is TS. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Take one.
The effective film score goes all the way back to the days of Greek theater. At that time, they had a thing called the chorus, which basically told the audience how it was supposed to feel, very on the nose. You know, they cheer when the hero comes out, boo when the villain comes out. And today, with cinema, it's the job of the score of the film to cue the audience in and really solidify, hey, this is how you're supposed to be feeling in this moment. When I imagine Halfdanr's score, I think of something earthy and natural, something deep, primal instincts, primal feelings, but then also a deep yearning. Yearning is definitely a key concept to the overall tone and feel of Halfdanr, and ultimately inspiring.
So the process of getting Jesse on board was amazing. We had a list of composers that we went through, and it took about a month to get through everybody. And Jesse was just kind of stood out. He hit all the variables that we needed in place to complete the film by the end of the year.
I've always sort of been obsessed with Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings were my favorite football team growing up. The setting and sort of the lore behind Vikings was a really attractive thing for me, and that was one of the main things that kind of captured my attention. A couple generations of families from Norway, so all that sort of Scandinavian heritage and stuff I've been really fond of and really interested in. And I think I watched the Kickstarter video, and the production mentioned that they had custom weapons made. And that was one of those things. I was like, okay, I need to see what this is about, because that's pretty cool.
A really important variable in the scoring process is collaboration with passion. And so far, we've seen that.
Honestly, I want somebody who's as nerdy about music as I am about film. I love Lord of the Rings. I think it's the best score on earth. And I happened to mention something about Lord of the Rings, and Jesse offhandedly said, yeah, I mean, you can't compare things to Lord of the Rings because it's the best score on earth, hands down. And I knew at that point that he was the guy I was looking for.
I was driving over a hill on Euclid Avenue in La Habra, California. I was listening to KUSC, which is a classical music radio station out of USC. They were interviewing a pianist, and I cannot remember her name, but they asked her if she had some advice for young, aspiring musicians. And so I kind of perked up a little bit, because I was a young, aspiring musician, and I was eager to hear what she had to say. And she said something that was really interesting and that I had never heard anyone say before. She said, if you can do anything else, do the other thing. That's a bit of a paraphrase, but essentially what she was saying is that if you can make a life, make a career doing anything aside from music, then instead of doing music, go and do that thing. And I think for a lot of people, that's something that actually sort of would have deterred them. And initially, that's sort of how I thought about it. But then actually, as I continued thinking about what she said, I started to ask myself honest questions, like, could I see a life where I don't do music? And what that kind of boiled down to is, if I choose to not do music, will I spend all of my time neglecting the thing I'm supposed to be doing and just do music instead? And the answer to that was yes. And the second question was, so if I do music, will I neglect doing music to do something else? And the answer was no, so I thought I might as well do music.
Immediately after we told Jesse, hey, we want you to score the film, literally like a week later, he was like, oh, I have a soundscape and I've got all these ideas, and he immediately started putting some stuff together and wanted us to come in and take a listen.
This is like a very much a stream of consciousness creative thing for me. So a place I like to start is before, if there's time, like before I work to any footage or really get specific, I just sort of like take my base raw reactions, because I did see the film at that screening, and some conversations that we've had, and I just go home and I just kind of write, like whatever comes out. And so this 100% could be one of those things where it's like, that's like cool music, but like that's not the film at all. So feel free to say that. Sometimes it's exactly right, and sometimes it's not, but it's sort of like a way of me to kind of flush out and like get clean. It's like a detox of like the initial inspiration. So I'll just play it all through. You can listen to it all. I want to be here as you first hear it, but then I want you to take it home. I want you to kind of spend some time with it. It's really helpful for me at that point for you to be like, hey, like, you know what, around like minute like 13 seconds, like that stuff, like I totally hear that as like this.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm so ready.
Okay, are you ready?
Let's dive in.
All right, let's do it. So I'm just going to play that.
Here we go.